The codependent person who gets their self-esteem in part through enduring an unhealthy relationship, and they keep other people stuck in that relationship too, classically in a family relationship. And they do this even though it is hurting everyone. In Cermak's definition, it came down to putting the needs of other people ahead of the codependent person's own needs. He also highlighted the anxieties that arise from separation in the codependent dynamic. There's also the process of enmeshment that we see in codependent relationships, which is really just very, very tangled boundaries and an unwillingness to draw appropriate boundaries, especially with people who have certain kinds of psychiatric and psychological disorders, substance use disorders and personality disorders most specifically. Now, Cermak also highlighted patterns, including denial, holding back emotions, depression, hypervigilance, which hypervigilance is sort of always being on edge and jumpy and chronically monitoring your environment for threats. Other things include compulsive behavior and anxiety. He also speaks to some of the risks we observe for a person who has a codependent pattern, and he'll highlight a history of physical or sexual abuse that often appears in a codependent person's life, and that a person who's experiencing codependency may also be experiencing stress-related physical illnesses. These could be things like chronic headaches or autoimmune flare-ups. And finally, in his definition, the codependent person does not seek help. The overall picture here is of someone who is stuck in a very victimized situation and is not only not trying to get out, but is basically clipping their own wings and staying in it. The presumption, at least my read on it, is that the codependent person is aware that their partner is a substance user or has very toxic, difficult kinds of patterns and behaviors, but they will minimize those issues. Ultimately, however, the codependent personality in some ways gets their self-esteem by the sense that they can somehow control the behavior of someone else in their life. So in the case of substance abuse or alcohol, it's when their partner, for example, or someone else in the family isn't drinking. So their self-esteem gets completely linked to someone else's behavior. And that, in fact, is something they can't control. So it's a very risky place to get your self-esteem from.